From the Studios, this is Calypso Social Media, the podcast for digital marketers and small business owners who believe in digital marketing. I'm your host, Enoch Robert Boy Apia Jr., and today we'll be talking about influencer marketing. And I have with me Priscilla Aseye Febiri, an integrated communications professional who is also an influencer marketing expert and a self-published author to help me with this conversation. And I first met Priscilla when she published her research on influencer marketing, which is currently available to the public, and you can download it at her website, influencermarketinginsights.com. So without further ado, I just want to dial Priscilla in so that we have this conversation on influencer marketing. Once again, thank you for deciding to join me on Calypso Social Media Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Great. And I just want to put a disclaimer out there before we even begin our conversation. I decided to have this conversation with you because of the research that you put out there about influencer marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a bit skeptical about influencer marketing, so I'm all about reading about influencer marketing, the essence for businesses, and especially in Ghana, how businesses in Ghana can utilize influencer marketing in their marketing mix. And I chanced upon your research. I read it a lot, and I decided that I definitely have to have a conversation with you so that we can dig in further about influencer marketing in Ghana.
Okay.
So basically, that's the disclaimer out.
Charlie, yeah. So let's go. What do you want to know?
All right. Okay. So I want us to start at what marketers are doing wrong when it comes to influencer marketing in Ghana.
Okay. When it comes to influencer marketing, I mean, the space is still a little bit new. So everyone is finding their feet. But when we come to Ghana, there are quite a few things that at the moment we are doing very well when it comes to influencer marketing, but there are still a few things that we need to watch out for. I think one of the things that marketers are not doing right when it comes to influencer marketing in Ghana is paying more attention to the audience match rather than the superficial things like followers. I mean, everyone wants to work with influencers with large followers and all of that, and they're not paying too much attention to the behind the scenes. So the platform analytics of the influencer, say for instance, okay, which audience do they have most in their followers, and does that actually match what the brand is looking for? I think that's one thing that we're missing. And we find that some, from the research as well, some marketers are not actually asking for insights before they onboard influencers. So I am assuming that it's coming from a point of, this influencer worked with this brand, they did really well, so they would work for my brand as well. But really, you should be paying attention to the insights from the influencers platform, the chosen platform, be it TikTok or Instagram. You should always ask for that before you go ahead and work with them, because you might end up working with them and you find out, I'm fat because why? The audience are not the same. So the influencer worked well for that brand because there was an audience match there, but they may not work well for yours because that match isn't there, or their analytics do not speak to your brand. Do you get what I mean?
Totally. So let's talk about the research. And before we even go in, I just want my listeners and the viewers to know that it is currently available at influencermarketinginsights.com, where you can just go and download it.
Yes, exactly.
It's totally free of charge.
It is.
And if you really want to go into influencer marketing, I suggest that you go over there to download it so that you can, be abreast with what is actually happening when it comes to influencer marketing.
Yeah.
Right. So Priscilla, why that research? because your tagline, you are an integrated communications professional,
Yes, I
right?
am.
And you're a self-published author.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you decide to do a research on influencer marketing?
Right.
Before Priscilla answers that question, I'm gonna take a page out of her own book, and I'm gonna put out this poll out there. Now I'm asking you this question: how effective do you think influencer marketing is in Ghana? A, very effective. B, somewhat effective. C, not very effective. D, not effective at all. I'm taking the question again. How effective do you think influencer marketing is in Ghana? A, very effective. B, somewhat effective. C, not very effective. And D, not effective at all. So if you are watching this episode on Spotify or listening on Spotify, just go to the show description. This question will be put there. You can just choose your opinion, how you think influencer marketing is effective in Ghana. Thank you. Now let's go back to the conversation.
So, my journey with influencer marketing actually, I have to talk about the journey for you to understand how it happened. So, my journey with influencer marketing started in 2016, where I worked with Stratcom Africa. So that was my first time working with influencers, and it was for a UNICEF campaign with Ghana Education Services, Be Amazing period. It was about, debunking taboos around periods and all of that. So we engaged influencers. At that time, influencers were like the celebrities, and, we didn't have what we have today. So we engaged people like Israel, Ms. V, and a few others in the media space as well. So that was my first experience working with influencers. Now, between 2016 and 2020, I had not done anything around influencer marketing. So I had moved to Belgium, and during the COVID period, I decided to, I was job searching, and I came across this influencer marketing agency. I reached out to them, and they said, "Oh, we don't have any spaces, but we have internships. Do you want to do it?" I said yes. So I was an account manager, an assistant account manager for, I think, about 3 months there. And I don't know if you're familiar working with agency versus in-house, but agency, you get the creme de la creme of projects. Like you're doing everything, so it's broad and you're learning so much. So there, as an assistant account manager, I was put in charge. I did everything from researching influencers for brands in Belgium to finding influencers, liaising with them, coming up with creative concepts for campaigns, and just following through the whole campaign process. The creating the calendars for them, following up with them whether everything is okay, monitoring, evaluation, all of that. We had to do it. So it really opened up my mind at that point of when it came to influencer marketing. Let's say that's when I really started getting into it. So after my time there, I started writing around influencer marketing for my Joy Online. And it started off as like a hobby. For me, when I'm interested in something, I like to go in. I like to it consumes me. So I was like, okay, start researching, how is influencer marketing working in Ghana. I tried to take principles from what I had learned from my internship, and I realized that there were gaps in Ghana. So just by looking at the way we did influencer marketing, I realized that, there are things that we could still learn. There are things that, I could bring on board that would, contribute to the influencer marketing space in Ghana. So that was where the writing began. And then from the writing, we went on to being invited to speak on influencer marketing with Women in PR. So I'm a member of Women in PR Ghana. So whenever there were topics around influencer marketing, I would be invited to speak. And it was there that I realized the need for research. Um, you know, in speaking about it and the questions that came up in the Q&A sessions afterwards, you realize that there were so many questions. So many professionals were still skeptical when it comes to working with influencers. There were questions about how do I select the right influencer, how do I know how much to pay influencers, how do you deal with it when there are brand issues. And so I realized that nah. There's research around influencer marketing in the Western space. But then when it comes to Africa, we don't have anything to look on. And at that time, I was like, okay, it was just curiosity. Let me just be honest. At that time, it was curiosity. I was like, let me just put the survey out and see, so that I know how to structure conversations around influences. In the beginning, it was just a matter of, I just need the data to be able to understand where the gaps are, so that when I am invited to have conversations, I know which areas to focus on more. So we did the survey, pushed it out to as many professionals as we could find in, branding and advertising, PR, marketing, pushed it out. And we got 70 professionals. And I just thought, initially I was looking for like 100 or more. But time was going and I was like, Charlie, we need to like get into the meat of things. So start analyzing the data, and it was there that I was like, nah, I can't keep this to myself. I need to put this out there. And I didn't have anyone sponsoring. My co-author and I, Emmanuel Meriku, we just, he has a research background. So when it came to the analyzing, or like, looking at the data, breaking it down, he was super helpful there. And then my knowledge of influencer marketing and, existing research came in to beef it up. So that was how it came about, really. That was how it started. That was what got us into it. And now here we are. To be honest, we've not done like any giddy giddy PR around it, but it has been well received. We've had like over 100 downloads of the reports. Yeah, since last time I checked was like in May. Yeah, we had like 100 plus downloads. So I'm sure by now it's probably more. So it's been well received, and you see that a lot of the professionals are like, oh yeah, this is actually true. It's actually what's on the ground. It's not like, something else just formulated, and they vibe with it, which is a good thing. And I hope that they take the recommendations on board, and we do something profitable with it, to be able to add to the industry, to grow the industry in a positive way. Yeah, so that's it.
One of the comments that came out of the from your respondent was that influencer marketing is still developing in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you did this research in Febiri?
Yeah.
Do you think in Ghana we've arrived when it comes to influencer marketing, or we are still developing?
We're still developing, and we still have quite a way to go. We've done very well, don't get me wrong, but I feel like when it comes to influencer marketing, the space is constantly evolving. And especially this year, 2023 into 2024, if you've paid attention, you'd notice that there's a global economic crisis. It's not just Ghana, it's everywhere. And that has affected the influencer marketing industry quite a bit. There have been budget cuts when it comes to marketing, and a lot of marketers are not comfortable putting money into influencer marketing, especially because some also feel that when it comes to proving sales, Influencer
Yeah, it's
marketing,
difficult.
exactly. It's very difficult to show that influencer marketing has been effective in generating sales. So, a lot of professionals are not putting in a lot of money. I like the fact that in Ghana there have been initiatives to support influencers and to make the industry better, like the Influencer Marketing Awards by Pulse Ghana and a few others that I have come across have been really instrumental. I've seen a few on Clubhouse. Educating influencers. So there are conversations, and then there's you as well. Having
Yeah,
conversations about digital marketing, which is also where influencer marketing falls in. So the education is
forcing.
there.
Yeah.
There is that effort to learn and to understand how the industry works. But I think that for the industry to be able to thrive better in Ghana, um, there needs to be a space for professionals and influencers to have like an honest conversation. There have been a few webinars and all of that where influencers have been invited to speak and professionals have been invited to speak. But then this needs to be a consistent thing, like a roundtable event that is
Yeah.
hosted like on a regular basis for professionals to understand the needs of influencers and influencers to also understand the needs of the professionals. I think that's where there's a misalignment. So you
Yeah.
find that sometimes influencers that are thriving the most are those that have some kind of marketing background or understand marketing a bit. So
Yeah.
then they know what is required of them from the professionals. So they're able to meet them there. But for those that are coming up and or those that do not have that background at all, you find that yeah, for them it's just me. I'm a content creator. I'm just doing my thing. If you whether
Yeah.
you take it or you leave it, but it doesn't work like that. It's a relationship thing. Do you get what I mean? You need to know
Yeah. Totally.
what
Totally.
the professionals need and be able to meet that if you want to be successful
Yes.
in the space. So yeah, that for me is where I think that professionals and influencers need to come in so that the industry can get even better. But for now, I think that the
Right.
economic crisis has slowed things down when it comes to influencer marketing. The industry is still projected to grow. I think the benchmark reports that Influencer Marketing Hub released this year. I think that the industry is projected to grow to 24 billion in 2024. That's the pace at which the industry is growing, and I feel like there's so much that we can do in Ghana.
I mean, talking about a platform to bring brands, professionals, and influencers together. Recently, I just came back from one influencer summit organized by Pulse Ghana, which I actually commend them,
Yeah,
Colette and the team for doing that, and I just hope that they keep on doing it
yeah,
because Pulse Ghana is sort of the powerhouse when it comes to influencer
sure.
marketing in Ghana, and I actually learned a lot. I was able to, witness how the influencers work, their main pain points and how,
Yeah.
professionals like me and other brands can meet them so that everything, I mean, it's all about the business success, right?
Yes.
And they were able to present their points out, and brands also were able to present their points, which I think was a good direction
Yeah.
by Pulse Ghana.
Yeah.
Yeah. L- let's get back to the report on what you call it, on preferred influencers, looking at micro influencers and macro influencers. I realized that a lot of professionals are skewed towards micro influencers. You see, do you think a time may come when macro influencers will overtake micro influencers when it comes to preferability by professionals? You are already shaking your head. I think I
No.
should just said the question.
No, I don't think that they are
Okay.
going to overtake. I think that now I mean, micro influencers have been preferred for quite a while now. I mean, since I remember in 2020 when I really started in influencer marketing. I remember that most of the influencers that we engaged were micro and nano influencers. And the thing is
Wow.
that with micro and nano influencers, yeah, they have a smaller following. And because of that smaller following, they are able to engage with their followers more. The thing with influencer marketing is that engagement drives a lot of what we do. So if you have
Right.
a nano influencer who is able to engage with their followers, is able to interact, create conversations and all of that, and follow up with followers, like, actually respond to comments, engage with followers like on a personal level, you that drives engagement up the roof. Now, macro influencers, even now, micro influencers are falling into the same category. Micro and macro
Wow.
influencers, now their following is large. The following is big. And you now, you're so focused on creating content and just, getting it in, that you're not putting time into engaging with your followers. To be able to do this, I mean, content creation for influencers is not beans, it's not child's play. There's a lot of work
Yeah.
involved. So I would say that for them to be able to get back to the place where they are engaging with their followers, they would need a team. Do you understand? So you,
Right.
the influencer, you go about
Yeah.
creating your content, but then you have like a community engagement person that would be responding to your comments, making sure that there's that authentic feel when it
Yeah.
comes,
Response.
exactly, response. So that needs to be there. But another reason why I think that it would be difficult for macro influencers to catch up now is because nano and micro influencers, they are normally niched out. So brands would particularly want to work with these influencers because they talk about one specific thing. Do you get what I mean? If it's family and
Yeah.
children, it's family and children. Maybe let's say, I don't know, I'm going to use an example. Say Johnson's is about to maybe release a new product in their baby line of things. And
Yeah.
they want to be able to target, mothers. It would make sense for Johnson's to work with a nano or several nano influencers in the mother baby stage or parent niche of influencers.
Yeah. Newborn.
Exactly. It would make sense for them to
New
work with them.
moms. Yeah.
Yes. Rather than working with one big influencer. Remember, influencers too are not cheap. So if you are working with one big influencer and you're going to pay that one big influencer, one macro influencer, I don't know, off the top of my head, 10,000 Ghana cedis or something. This is just an example.
It's gone.
And you have 20, let's say 10, because my maths is about to go out the window. So let's say 10 nano influencers
Yeah.
who amount to that 10, who amount to,
Macro
exactly,
influencer.
who amount to 20K or so. So let's say 10, each influencer has like, 5K or um 2 to 5K followers. Now, if you split that 10,000 amongst that 10 influencers in nano and micro
Nano influencer.
category, does that not make more business sense? You want engagement, you want conversion to sales and all of that. You are not going to get that with one big influencer. Do you get what I mean? So for this
Yeah.
the preference towards micro and nano influencers, it makes more economic sense for small to medium sized businesses as well who want to get into the influencer marketing space, because those nano and micro influencers are relatively cheaper to work with than the macro influencers. Let me not say cheaper. Cheaper is not the right word. They're more affordable to
Affordable.
work with
Yeah.
than the macro influences. So I think that's why we see a shift. And now with this economic crisis, when the agency, because at this point
Trouble.
now it's just the micro and the research, the benchmark research also showed the same thing. It showed that professionals are choosing more to work with nano and micro influencers more than they would like to work with the macro influencers. So I think that there's a lot of work for micro influencers to do. I mean, for macro influencers to get up there, or to be able to maneuver this, I would say, okay, adding other um, like other aspects to the influencer marketing. Like instead of just TikTok, content creation, maybe add a blog
Oh,
or something. Diversify. Do you
right.
get what I mean? Don't just
Diversify.
stick to
Total.
creating the content.
Content posting.
Exactly. Do you understand? And
Interesting.
make yourself more open to the prospect of working to build your portfolio. You understand? For me, I always say that influencer marketing for influencers needs to start with a goal. You need to know, okay, I'm going into this thing. What kind of clients do I want to be working with? Do you get what I mean? From the very beginning, what kind of clients do I want to be? Okay, I want to be, I don't know, I want to be a travel influencer. I want to be targeting brands like Moving Pig, Alisa Hotel, hotels that are around in Ghana. Exactly. Do I want to be focused in Ghana, or I want to be like an African influencer? These are questions that you want to be asking yourself. These would guide you in the content creation process and make you visible to the brands that you want to work with.
You've taken all the words out of my mouth,
Oh,
Priscilla.
Charlie, let's
But-
not remain, I beg.
Let's talk about engagement here, right? You made mention of engagement.
Yeah.
But then we are being controlled by these platforms. What is true engagement for influencers? Is it just liking or commenting?
I think
Which one will you rate higher when it comes to influencer marketing?
so we all know that when it comes to engagement is higher on TikTok than it is on Instagram. And now professionals are looking to work more with TikTok influencers than Instagram influencers because the engagement there is higher. So I would say that engagement for me looks more like comments than likes. Likes are very superficial. I mean, now when you're on social media, when you're scrolling through, something really needs
Sometimes
to
I like without knowing that I've actually liked
exactly.
it.
Yes, you just like, but for you to comment, then the thing has really caught your attention. Yes, do you get what I mean? So I think looking more at comments is a more effective way. But like I said, the calculation for engagement looks at, it's an equation of likes and comments. So you can't take one without the other. But personally, for me, comments are louder than likes. Yeah, for me, the comments are louder than the likes when it comes to engagement. And I think another one is saving the content. Yes, Because when a person saves it, it means that they have an intention to go back to it. Do
Definitely,
you understand?
definitely.
So yeah, go on.
I have a lot of saved recipes from
Exactly.
influencers because
Yes.
I see the recipe. Oh, right now I'm not ready to make this recipe, so I would rather save it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even comment
Yeah.
because commenting then it will be telling people that no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I will just save
Yeah.
it and keep it to myself.
Exactly. So
Interesting.
that's another way of, looking at your engagements. And I think engagement in influencer marketing is everything. And to reach that engagement, authenticity is key. You need to be your most authentic self when you are an
Yeah.
influencer. And um, it cannot be mentioned like more.
In one of your articles on my job online,
Hmm.
you wrote, and I quote, "As an influencer, your vibe will attract your tribe."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that, Priscilla? This cafe is courtesy of supporters like you on buymeacoffee.com. Now, by visiting buymeacoffee /I'm Robot Boy, you can help keep the Colors of Social Media podcast alive and thriving by buying me or my guests a cup of coffee or as many as you would like. And here's how your support makes a difference with some exciting perks along the way. 1. Become a supporter. Now, with every coffee you buy, you directly contribute to keeping the show running. You are not just helping me, but also treating my guests to a coffee or whatever drink they prefer when they come on the show. Number 2, Insider Club membership. Now, when you buy me a coffee, you unlock the chance to join the Colors of Social Media called Insider, a monthly membership that gives you access to exclusive posts and updates, special shoutouts for new members, a comprehensive digital marketing tutorial library, all for this for just $10 a month. Number 3, VIP Coffee Mate status. Now, for my top supporters, you can take it to the next level by joining the exclusive VIP Coffee Mate group. Now, membership is limited to just 10 people for now, and you get everything included in the Insider membership, plus one-on-one sessions tailored to your needs, access to my full collection of digital marketing templates. So, if you're enjoying the podcast and want to show your support, head over to buymeacoffee.com /I'm Robot Boy. Again, buymeacoffee.com /I am Robot Boy. There are even more ways to support the show that I don't have time to cover here. So, check out the full details on the website. Thank you. Priscilla.
Your vibe will attract your tribe. So I remember this article. I was talking more about niche influences. So I I really like working with influences that are niched rather than influences that are like doing a little bit of everything. Like they're doing fashion, they're doing lifestyle, they're doing sports, like one person. I prefer to work with an influencer that is focused in one area. Now, I know that we as human beings we are multidimensional and no one person is one thing. We have different
Yeah.
interests. But the reason why I like influencers that are niched is because they have an audience that is following them because of that one specific thing they are talking about. So,
Right.
if, say, for instance, I am a mom of two and I decided I wanted to start creating content for other moms, like I'm going to use my friend, shout out to Giggles and Grunts. So, she is a mom and she has been creating content around um, she and her daughter and
Yeah.
the from when she was a baby up until this stage. Now the people that follow Giggles and Grunts, no word of a lie, most of them are probably moms.
Yeah.
Most of them are moms. And they follow her because of that content. They follow her because they know that, yeah, she'll post content around, education for her daughter, whatever stage she's at. Um, uh, probably activities to do with children, teaching a child how to read when it comes to feeding, and when they are small like that. All of us, our minds go blank as mothers, even if we've done it before. When we get to that point, we're like, hey, now, what would the child eat? Like, what should I be giving them? You can go on to Google's and Grants, and then you see her former posts, and you're like, oh, okay, I can give my child this. So those influencers, those niched influencers, they have built a higher trust with their followers, because their followers know that this person is, say for instance, the lady behind the Giggles and Grunts page, Kukwa.
Yes,
We
sir.
know that Kukwa, what she's giving her child, it's not as like some brand has contracted her to do it.
No, it's
Because she
just
actually
natural.
loves the product. It's working for
Yeah.
her. So you would rather follow Kukwa than to follow a content creator. I'm just using an example. You'd rather follow her than to follow a
Yeah.
content creator that is creating content around, that, okay, they are not even a mother. They are creating content around fashion. Then tomorrow they are creating content around
Yeah.
babies and all of that. So that trust is not there. Because,
They are just posting.
yeah, if I were to be a follower, I'd be like, but you, what's the credibility? Where's the credibility? Because I don't know you as a
Yeah.
mom, but you're talking about baby food. Like, Anka, only baby food there, Anka. How does it
Yeah.
match? You get what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So people like
Yeah.
that, you wouldn't follow them. But with someone who is giving their child the same thing, not because the product has the brand has paid them, but because they actually love the product, would gain more followers that way. They would gain
Right.
more authentic. Like, their follower quality is
True
higher.
followers.
Let me put it that way. So you as a brand, when you are
Yeah.
working with them, if, say for instance, Nestle decided to work with Giggles and
Country.
Grants, they've released a new
It
baby
will be
food. It
easier.
will be easier. Do you understand? Because
Yeah.
everybody knows that Giggles and Grants,
Because
they're baby stuff. That kind of. So that's why I'm like, your
yeah,
vibe, which is here, we're talking about children and
your
parenting.
authentic self.
Exactly. Your authentic self will attract your tribe. It will attract your followers, and it will also attract the brands you want to work with. So that's where we're looking at your
Okay.
brand, your vibe will attract your tribe. So that was basically it.
Talk. Thank you.
You're
Talking
welcome.
talking about brands, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a brand wants to engage an influencer,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the criteria the brand needs to look out for?
Okay, so as a brand, if you're going to work with an influencer, first things first, you need to look at your goal when it comes to influencer marketing. What is it that you're trying to achieve? Is it brand awareness or sales generation? This would inform everything else. So let's take it that this, for the sake of this question, the brand wants to increase brand awareness around their new product that they've released. So fine, you want to look for influencers that are a brand fit, first of all. So you are looking for an influencer whose um, brand voice, influencers to our brands, by the way, you need to make sure that their brand voice aligns with yours. Their brand values align with yours. That's where the brand fit is. And once you have checked that box, you need to always look at their insights. You need to look at their reputation as well. Is this influencer known to be um, controversial? Exactly. Do you want your brand aligned with that? You need to ask yourself. Some brands actually want that. Do you understand? Some brands thrive on controversy. So, yeah, but in Yedibia, so you want to find out if that brand, if the influencer is someone who has a controversial past and all of that as well. And you need to look at the engagement rates of the influencer. You need to look at the influencer's level of professionalism. You really, that needs to be key. And this also goes to influencers. No matter how small or large you are, professionalism will take you places more than your follower count. That would open more doors for you.
This quote is a quote.
Pardon?
It's a quote, Priscilla.
Yeah, it would.
Professionalism will take you to
Yeah,
places more than your follower
yeah, well,
count.
yeah. It would. It really would. It
It
would
is a
take you
quote.
more places than your follower count. So that needs to be prioritized because you need to have that in mind as well. And another thing that brands need to look at, they need to look at the type of influencer marketing campaign they want to run. Do they want to run a short-term or a long-term campaign? So we see short-term campaign are like, up to 3 months. And then the long-term campaigns are like, 6 months to a year campaigns. What type of campaigns do you want to run? That will also inform on the influencers that you decide to work with. Because if you are going for like a 3 months campaign, a short-term campaign, the idea is that you are doing probably for brand awareness. So you are doing like the big fireworks kind of campaign. So they have a thing in influencer marketing called like, you have you have several micro nano influencers and you have one big macro influencers. That's so like the fireworks. So the micro and the nano would, build that momentum, and then the macro one would, do the big unveiling. There's a whole thing to it. So you need to know if that's what you want. If it's sales generation, the buyers, we have a thing in marketing called the buyer's journey. Buyer's journey for everybody is there are key stages in the buyer's journey that happen at varying times. It will not happen the moment they see your brand for the first time. It will take time. So sometimes a long-term approach is good for brands who are looking for sales generation, because in that, between the 6 months to a year, the influencers followers, they've built that trust. They've realized that, the influencer is not just posting because they've been paid. They probably like the brand. You as the influencer now, for you to agree to such contracts, the 6 months to a year, you should make that brand must be a brand that you love. Do you understand? And that's one thing. I feel like for influencer marketing to thrive, that's why influencers need to be conscious from the onset. You don't just work with a brand because they are giving you plenty money, because then you are doing yourself a disservice, because when they don't see any results, you as the influencer, you look bad because you didn't like the product, you just went in it for the money. So in future, look-alike brands would be like, she worked with that brand but didn't get the results. So they will not be willing to come to you. But if you love a brand authentically, it shows. It shows in the way you advocate for the brand, even when there are issues. So I think that, brands need to be looking at this as well. How much does the influencer love your brand? So sometimes before a campaign, you should have, when you know you're going to run an influencer marketing campaign, start monitoring the influencers you want to work with. Way back. Say if you know that I want to run a campaign, I want to start running a campaign in June. Start looking at the influencers you want to work with from January. Look at patterns. See, okay, this influencer, buy a product, how have they, um, how have they actually shown that they love our products? I remember there was an influencer marketing conversation time ago that we had with, I think, Nashoko, if I'm not mistaken. And she mentioned this, that she, as an influencer, I mean, she would work with brands whose products that she's already been using. Do you understand? So, yeah, and yeah, I think that she will post about it and her followers will be like, now, say this is your first time, that their authenticity is there from day. They've seen you use this product several times. So now when it's a brand collaboration, it's natural. It's not just, you've been paid so you are doing it. Now that is where real influencer comes in. That's where real influencer is defined. Because now you are leveraging the trust of your followers. Yes. To benefit the brand. Do you get what I mean? So it's goes hand in hand. Yeah.
So, talking about controversial influences, in in the event of an influencer, destroying brand's reputation, how can the brand bounce back?
This one, I would say that I'll start by saying first that if you don't have a PR team in house,
Much.
engage one. That's the first thing that I'll say. Me myself as a PR professional, I would definitely advocate for this. Do you get what I mean? And
Yeah.
when an influencer throws a brand's name under the bus or they do something that affects the brand, um, from my professional standpoint, now I'm going to wear my PR hat. From my professional
Yeah.
standpoint, I would say that first of all, brand, acknowledge what has been done, be honest, right? This
Yeah.
influencer did this and this and that. Be clear about it. Don't try to cover things up, it will just hurt your brand. And then, secondly, to show empathy to those who have been affected by this issue.
Right.
Show empathy, let them know that you understand what the damage that has been caused. Now have steps in place and be clear about them on what you are going to do to make sure that this never happens again. Do you
All
understand?
right.
So first, be honest,
Accept it.
accept it,
Yeah.
apologize, empathize, you know, let them know that you're sorry, you understand the damage that has
Yeah.
been done. Now take steps to make sure that that never happens again. Now, some brands would go as far as to sever ties with the influencer, just to they make sure that they are not aligned with the influencer. And this will also depend on the contract that you sign with
Yeah.
influencers. I'm big on contracts when it comes to influencer marketing, because from the get-go, influencers need to know boundaries. They need to understand
Yeah.
what is allowed,
Yeah.
what is not allowed. So spell that out clearly in the contract. Let us all understand what we are getting ourselves into before we get into it. Because if something happens and your contract did not spell things out clearly, the influencer can say, but me, I didn't know. Me, I was just
Yeah.
doing my influencer thing. I was just being my
Yeah.
authentic self, which is required of them. Yes, you
Yes.
cannot blame them. It's there. So you need to spell things out
All
well
of.
in the contract so that people are not thinking that, oh, I can just
Yeah.
go on and do whatever. So that's something that needs to be out there. And sometimes I feel like there are certain situations where I felt that brands have rushed to sever ties with the influencer when they could have
Yeah.
used that to their own advantage. There are certain situations that it can turn around and be like what the enemy meant for evil, God has used it for my good kind of situation. Do you understand? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention names, but there was this one influencer that had an issue. Was it earlier this year or sometime last year? A female influencer, and she was working with a brand that focused on female hygiene products. And I think, was it, did the brand cut ties with her when the issue came out?
Wow.
It's worked on a moral ground. It was, our cultural things. Ghana, maybe we
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, it can create controversy right now. So in my mind, when I saw that the brand had severed ties, I I looked at it, and on one hand, I could see why, because
Yeah.
in our cultural setting, there are certain things that are not allowed, and even as a brand, you can go down for it. But I also felt that this brand
Yeah.
could have leveraged this to talk more about, you know, shaming females when it came to, like,
Yeah.
more things, because majority of their audiences are
Product.
females. Do you get what I mean? Their audience are largely females,
Yeah.
young females. And there is this rising conversation about how we talk about men philandering and women doing the same. Men kind of get a slap on the wrist, and it's like, yeah, or yeah, man, that's kind
Yeah.
of thing.
And women, they
Women are
drag them.
dragged.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So
Yeah.
I felt like this brand could have used that to amplify
Yeah.
conversations around that. But of course, it's also a lot of money to invest into,
Of course.
talking about
True.
that, doing all of that for the influencer. I mean, it's for the influencer, but at
True.
the end of the day, it makes you look like a brand who also advocates for female rights and how they are treated. Do you know what I mean? As one that is
Yeah.
largely female dominated in terms of your audience or your customers. So I felt like that was a way that it could have been maneuvered. But again, when crisis
Yeah.
happen, when there's
Of course,
no
businesses
crisis,
will try.
yeah, business must go on. So yeah, Fina, we are coming to sit down and strategize.
There.
Like, if you don't have a PR team, it's very difficult. That's why I said, when it happens, engage one. Just engage one for
Right.
peace of mind. And I also understand why they didn't go that route, because again, our cultural norms, it would have taken quite a while to penetrate and have that conversation open up,
Yeah.
especially in the midst of that crisis. So
Yeah.
it's neither here or there.
I
But
mean, yeah.
first of
But the
all,
best
just make
thing would
sure.
be to get a PR.
Pardon?
A PR firm.
Yes,
I mean, the best thing is for you to get a PR firm,
exactly.
and they will be able to know how to steer
Yes.
the affairs of the controversy.
Yes, that's it.
Priscilla, I have 3 important questions before we drop off this call.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with, I'm going back to the reports, the findings you got
Okay.
during your research, right? Now, based on your findings, what advice would you give social media influencers?
Based on my findings. So in the report,
Yeah.
the very last page, there's a part where we gave the professionals an opportunity to say what
To
they felt
advise
about the
influencers.
industry. Yes. And there was one that has a permanent place in my mind. Like, it has built a house, furnished it,
Wow.
everything in my mind now. And it's it's the fact that it was consistent. They said some influencers act like divas, and
Wow.
I was like, wow, okay. So that's where professionalism comes in again. Remember what we said
Comes
before?
in,
Your
yeah.
professionalism will take you more places than your followers,
Than your
your follower
followers.
count. Yes.
Yeah.
So that for me is something that I think influencers need to be they need to be conscious when it comes to that, when they are working with
Right.
marketing professionals. And I'm happy that you mentioned, the Pulse event, the
Yeah, influencer
influencers.
summit. Yeah.
Yes, I'm happy that you mentioned that, because it allows an environment for influencers and professionals to have dialogue. What is needed from me? What do I need from you? Let's see how we can work together.
Yeah.
But
That's all.
where that is missing, no, that's where we have issues. So I would, um my key advice is that influencers should take advantage of these opportunities, these speaking opportunities, like, not speaking opportunities, but these summits, these events. Attend,
Right.
network with professionals, you know, and also too with influencers. I'll say that when you start off, don't be afraid to specialize. Because from the
Right.
research, we see that nano and micro influencers are the ish. And we also see that from the benchmark reports from Influencer Marketing Hub, the message is consistent there as well. They are working with micro and nanos. Nanos
That's all.
specialize. So when you're
Yeah.
starting out, don't be afraid to specialize. Don't be afraid to stand out in the
Right.
market, you know, and don't be afraid to explore areas that have not been tapped, you know, areas
Interesting.
like, in the report as well, gaming.
Yeah.
Gaming is an area that, I don't, maybe I've not intentionally looked. When it comes to Ghanaian influences, I've not really seen much when it comes to gaming. Maybe they are there.
I I know one. Well, again, you see, just building your tribe. She doesn't see herself as an influencer, but then it is gradually coming up because a lot of gamers are actually following her on
Yes.
TikTok. I think the name is Selassie,
Okay.
and she just talks about her gaming day in day out. She's building the tribe like that because we know her as a gamer,
Yeah.
and she has developed that niche. So yeah, there are a couple of influencers out there when it comes to
Yeah.
gaming.
And another thing is, I'd say, have fun with it. That's one of my advice for people getting into influencer. Have fun with it. Do you understand?
Yeah,
When
yeah,
be
yeah.
professional but have fun. Don't, first of all,
Interesting.
just always have that goal in mind. Where do I want to be? And then activate the fun. Do you get it? Be
All right.
yourself. Don't
Thank you.
let anybody make you feel like you're doing too much or whatever. Just be yourself. So those are my, yeah,
2 cents. Yeah. Let's talk
advice.
about the future. That's actually my last question.
Okay.
How is the future looking like for influencer marketing in Ghana?
Oh, the future is very bright. The future,
Yeesh, you might need shades,
oh, we
yeah?
might need shades. We might need like double shades or something like that. The ones that like flip up and then you put them down when the sun is too
Yeah,
much. Yeah,
yeah.
we might need those kind of shades for this level of
Yeah.
bright. Oh, yeah, because yeah,
Interesting.
the industry is looking bright. I mean, 24 billion. That's that's
It's
big.
up for
Oh.
grab, yeah? Yeah.
24 billion. That's like worldwide projection. So we need to also position ourselves. How can we tap into that 24 billion? How can our business markets also tap into that 24 billion? That's why in the research, one of the recommendations was adaptability. We need to be adaptable. We need to tap into technology when it comes to influencer marketing, because now there are so many platforms when it comes to influencer marketing that would that do the entire campaign process for you, from finding the influencer, um, everything in one place, finding the influencer, um, signing the contract with them, paying them, following through on campaign process, reviewing materials to see if it works, and then the monitoring and evaluation as well.
Wow.
There are
Do you know,
platforms.
just briefly, some of the platforms?
I mean, there's Affluence, which is one of them. We have our very own what is it called in Ghana? Yeah, Whoopr is a good one as well. So that's doing well. And Wowzy is another one.
Wowzy.
Yeah. So it's
I'm gonna link them in the description.
Yeah. So there's quite a few. When I think of them, I'll let you know as well so that you can add them on. But
Update it. Awesome.
there's quite a few because I've been looking in that space myself to see, like, what to be able to recommend to people that I end up working with in the influencer marketing space, because it makes work so much easier. The only thing is that the Influencer Marketing Hub actually published the research about inclusivity and diversity when it comes to influencer marketing. So when it comes to these tools, they are focused on their markets.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think that was why you were preaching that locally our developers should develop our tools for the market.
Yes.
Which I totally side with you on that. Because I mean, made in Ghana, we know our audience, we know our market, we know how our our influencers post their stuff, the sort of stuff that will get people ticking. So I'll side with you on that.
Yeah, it's really important we come up with our own thing.
Priscilla, how I know where to get the report.
Okay.
But then if someone listening to this episode or watching this episode on YouTube want to get hold of the report, how can they get it?
So you can get hold of the report. You can get hold of it by Influencer Marketing Insights. And you can download it on there. And you can also get the link to the report via my LinkedIn page, which is Priscilla Aseye, Febiri. So you can get it from those avenues. Those are the key areas. And then also on Instagram, I'm on Instagram as Purple Coms. So there's also a link in my bio to the report on there as well. So those are the ways that you can access the report.
Got it. Thank you so much, Priscilla, for joining me.
Thank you
on Colors of Social Media. Yeah, I actually appreciate your insights when it comes to influencer marketing.
Thank you so much.
And I love what I heard.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I could share, and thank you for having me. And thank you for being so flexible with my time as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This episode, just like any other episode of Colors of Social Media podcast, is produced by Builder Studios and recorded at Tribal Mark Studios, 13 Asiko Street, Tantra Hills, Accra.
Daddy.